Hello and welcome back to the How to Get an Analytics Job Podcast. In this podcast episode, our guest lecturer is Giovanna. She is a soft skills expert who specializes on soft skills for data science and analytics. In this podcast episode, we're going to be specifically talking about soft skills as they apply to your interviews. So for the interactive section of this podcast, we actually have Zane Smith, who is one of my Greensboro College students, and he has prepared answers to two typical interview questions. So what we're going to do is start off the episode where Giovanna and I are just going to have a conversation about soft skills. What are the most important soft skills? What are the ones that are going to really help you transition either out of another industry into the analytics space or help you get your next promotion as an analyst? Then we're going to hop into the interactive section where Giovanna and Zane are actually going to have kind of a mock interview. So she's going to ask those two questions, he's going to respond, then we're going to give feedback on how he can improve how he would answer those questions. Then we're going to round out the episode with our social media manager, Al Bellamy, and he is going to facilitate the Q&A section. Now, bear in mind, these are questions that you guys have actually submitted to us on LinkedIn. So if you want to join in and actively participate in these podcast episodes, head over to LinkedIn and check out our webpage, the How to Get an Analytics Job LinkedIn page. And you can start to join in on our weekly discussions, and we might even choose your question to incorporate into the podcast episode. This podcast episode is brought to you by Panoply. Panoply makes it easy for you to connect to over 60 different data sources, where you could study your data in SQL, visualize it in tools like Power BI or Tableau, or even analyze it in your favorite programming language. Click the link in the description down below and you can get a free 14-day trial to panoply.io. If you guys are getting a lot of value out of the podcast, the best thing that you can do to give back to us is to leave a like, a comment in the comment section down below, or even share this on your social media platforms. This will help us boost our signal out on the algorithm so that we can help even more people transition into the analytics space. Without further ado, let's jump into the podcast episode. So Giovanna, how are you doing today?
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for your invitation. I am in the other side, and now I'm here sharing with you. I always have in the chat section asking my questions.
It is weird being on the opposite side of the interview table, but I guess let's kick things off. So tell us who you are and also why are soft skills so important?
Who I am? I'm Giovanna Galeno. I'm an Italian Peruvian. I am a soft skill trainer diving into the data science universe. Why soft skills? Because when I start my career, I study international business administration, and then I start working on that. But then I was attracted by the human resources, and I start doing some training sessions, and I love that. So I prepare myself to become a trainer, and then I love the way how you can help people to transform themselves in something more interesting to develop all the professional skills. So I started with this project of being a freelancer because I've been a soft skill trainer as a freelancer. And then thanks to this decision, I was part of an amazing project that helped women in business, Peruvian women in business, to develop their soft skills to become entrepreneurs. So I travel around Peru doing these trainings, and it was amazing because in Peru we have different realities, and I get inspired by these women at the end. So it was very, very exciting. And then this part of the soft skills is not just being as a trainer, but during my life, I have been in the middle of many situations that I have that helped me to develop my soft skills. So, for example, when I was studying for be a trainer, we usually use study cases. But during my life, I have to face real cases that help me to sharpen my soft skills. So I've been doing my work as a soft skill trainer, but at the same time, I've been working in different positions, in different roles that based on my soft skills. So soft skills help us to be adaptable because they are transferable in different industries and in different fields. So I can say that I am an example of how soft skills can help you to move into different fields and industries.
Yeah, you're making me think of so our co-host Dr. Hall says that hard skills get you to the door, soft skills get you through the door. Would you agree to that sentiment?
Yeah, 100% agree. Because I have passed, for example, from being a trainer in the finance field, and then I've been part of a technical team, and then I've been part of a artist team. So I have used all my soft skills to adapt to these different teams, and that is something I think unique when you can sharpen your soft skills because you have the hard skills to perform that role, but at the same time you can be flexible, and this is something that can help you to stand out with other when you are part of a team.
So how okay, it's interesting. So you said that you've used case studies to kind of build soft skills, but really the biggest growth has been just kind of getting out and having to solve social, I guess, social
Mhm,
different social dynamics or being put in an unfamiliar environment.
mhm.
What's the best way to build social skills? Should you like read a book on it? Should you just go out and I don't know, go to like an improv comedy class? Like, what's the best way to build soft skills in a professional setting?
Okay, it is true. You doing this kind of sessions, workshops that can help you to improve your social skills. But I think that this uh, sense of reality change everything. So when you are in a real situation, you have to deal with many, many factors at the same time. And in that moment, you are really training your soft skills. So, for example, some people ask me how to develop my teamwork skills. And, and I have uh, trained my soft skills, in this case, teamwork, for example, participating in competitions and hackathons. The last year I participated in two hackathons with a team of different people from different cultures, and we had the some, how can I say, communication problems about the language.
Hmm.
So when you are part of a team, for example, communication is vital to achieve your goal. And different culture, because I sometimes you assume that people think in the same way that you think, but this is not true. So when you start to perform all the activities during this teamwork, you think, okay, he or she's they are going to do this. At the end, they do another thing, and you say, well, what happened? Because they have another mindset. So in that case, for example, in some point, my team was like a little lost because everyone was lost because of our communication problems. And the other part was our mindset. So we have to talk about that. We have to find a way of communicate better. and find a way how to do a strategy that every single thing that make us in that moment made us different is at the end it was like a complement to be better. And I have to say that we were in the 7 top projects in that hackathon. So at the end we were like we were in troubles, but at the end when we realized our limits, we use these limits and we work on these limits to improve. So our soft skills were trained in just because we have like 2 weeks to do this. So
Yeah.
these kind of things. Mhm.
Interesting. So, one of my best friends in my MBA program was actually Peruvian. I had no idea that we had a connection. So I spent 2 weeks down in Lima with him. That's why I didn't know you were Peruvian. That's so cool. But I remember him saying that, well, it was him and one of his friends came up to get their MBA at UNCG. And he was talking about how hard it is to present in front of a crowd as English as your second language because there's pressure on you. But I mean, his English was really, really good though. But I will say this, the language, the way that you think in Spanish versus English is very, very different. So that's an interesting point because you conceptualize the world differently. And maybe we should take Christina Statopoulos' advice, and maybe learning a second language is a great way to kind of open up your mind and start to see
Yes.
problems from different perspectives.
Yeah, that's right. And the way that our culture, for example, South American people and Peruvian person, for example, we we are made to survive. For example, in this situation, some people is like, I cannot deal with these kind of things. Peruvian people know how to deal with this because we are because part of our culture are this kind of situations. So I think every culture has a different mindset, and we have a value that we can use in our teams to perform in a better way. So I think when diversity is very important. So that's another point.
So
Diversity.
wait, did you grow up in Lima?
Yeah, I live in my family is in Lima. So I used to live in Lima. Yes, now here in Milan, everything changed, but I feel like at home because I'm half Peruvian and half Italian. So
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I spent some time in, oh man, is it Barranca or Barranquillo?
Barranco,
That like
Barranco.
really bohemian neighborhood. That was awesome. I
Yeah,
really loved being there. Um, Man, that was back. I'm starting to get old now. That was like 4 years ago.
you are making me traveling in Peru with my mind. Thank you for that.
So, okay, I've got a question. What is your number one top skill, or maybe top three skills, if you feel like there's not one most important top soft skill?
Okay, my top soft skills. The first one is I am a very good active listener. The second one is I'm good in public speaking, and the third one is my capacity of persuasion.
I love that. See, I would call it sales, and I would say sales is my number one top soft skill. Like I can influence people to buy from me, which is why I think I'm doing all right in the entrepreneurship space. One kind of debate that it wasn't really a debate; it was like a soft debate. When we had Christina Statopoulos, I was talking about leadership is a very important, and she was like, "Well, teamwork," and we kept kind of going back and forth because it. Would you say that leadership and teamwork are somewhat at odds, or what is the relationship between those two soft skills? Because there seems to be some tension there. Would you agree?
Yeah. Okay. It's something that I want to say here is that to be a leader team, first you need to be your own leader. So you have to be a leader of your life. So if you are not able to be your own leader, you cannot lead a team. So what is the connection between the leadership and teamwork is that a good leader, so a leader is someone who has don't not only lead the the team, but also help the members of the team to grow and to make them become leaders. Because the leadership, well, there are different kind of leadership, but for example, there are some in some moments that the leader is the follower, because someone in the team has more experience or maybe has more ideas to share. In that moment, that person can become a leader, but the responsibility is always for the leader. So the leader has all the responsibility of the result of the team. So the connection is that at the end, the leader, I think, is the person who has all the information, who has to guide the strategy and to see what are going to be the activities to do. But at the end, if a good leadership is the one who share the decision too. It depends on the moment, okay?
Yeah, you're making me think of this phrase that I've heard over the years of strong convictions loosely held. So you go with the evidence. If the evidence is pointing to this, you're going to go this way. But if a new argument comes up and maybe your team member has a different insight or a different perspective on the problem that's better than yours, you need to kind of be strong enough or secure enough in your own ego to admit that, okay, we're wrong about this, you're right, and we're going to go this way. Which kind of brings me to this point of disagreeableness, which is like one of the big 5 personality traits. Because I think that a lot of people assume that leaders are the ones who are the most disagreeable. And I don't think that's necessarily untrue. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that every leader has his or her own leadership style. And another factor, very important factor, is the situation. Because if it's something that is urgent, you don't have time to ask to your team what to do. You have to deal with that, right, and you have to make decisions. But there are some decisions that you need people to be, you need your commitment, the commitment of your team. So to get this commitment, you need to involve to your team in the decision. So in that moment, you need to ask for suggestion. At the end, you have to balance what you think as a leader and what your team wants from the leader. So I think this is important. So we need to balance. I know that for some people it's like, okay, but at the end I have the responsibility. So I need to be sure that we are going to achieve this goal. So maybe there are some leaders that said, okay, you have to do this and do that, and that's it. No, that style. But I think that is sometimes we are like a leader and a boss. No? We need to think that a boss should be a leader at the same time. But there are in some organizations, we have the boss, and inside the team, we have a leader. So, and we need to be aware of that, because people, the decision are like a channel through the leader to accept the decision from the boss. So we need to deal with that and be aware of that.
Okay, so I feel like we're kind of talking at soft skills, kind of like someone who is later in their career, like, well, not necessarily so. I feel like leadership, it makes me think of someone who's in a senior or maybe even a managerial role. What would be your soft skills advice for someone trying to get their first analytics job? Like, in that context, how can you show off that you are skilled kind of on the softer, because I feel like we have just killed hard skills and everyone's like, yes, this is a new course, this is a new certification. Everyone has so much information on that. But on the softer side, how can you send a strong signal, especially early on in your career, that you are skilled on the soft skills?
Yeah, something very interesting in this question is that we need to think that now now in this period we need to know how to work in autonomy. Everyone, I think. And it doesn't matter if you are in an entry level or if you are a leader of the team. So everyone is working in autonomy. So a way of proof that you have these soft skills is, the first thing is when you are like applying for a position, because okay, we use our soft skills to be the best candidate, for example, when you are in an interview, but we need to think that you have the hard skills. So as you have said, we know that you are prepared or you have the knowledge. So one important thing for the soft skill, for example, is to build a portfolio, because the way you build your portfolio reflects the kind of um, member of the team that you are going to be. For example, when you have your notebooks in your portfolio, the way that you have described or you have done the documentation of that project, when you say, when you write, for example, why did you choose that tool instead of the other? When you start to do like to in your writing, you can reflect your critical thinking too, because you can say, I start doing this, but it wasn't useful for my purpose, so I decided to switch to another tool because I wanted to include this thing, because I discovered that in a research or in a paper that it wasn't so useful for this field. So the way that you do the documentation of your portfolio of your projects are a reflect of the soft skills, the writing skills, the way how you present your ideas, the way how you uh, for example, maybe some people said this is the best way of doing that, and you prove that you have create a different way with different results, and maybe is cheaper, no, cheaper to achieve your goal. So all these little things are part of the soft skills. So when someone who is really trained to see the signal of the soft skills inside of this documentation, for example, they realize in a first glance that this person is special. This person has the soft skills that they need to, to make these people fit in the team, because we want to create a powerful team, because that is the idea of the soft skills.
Yeah, I love that. That's something we preach over and over again, is building a portfolio. Because it is kind of like a stack. It's like it's a hard. You're demonstrating in a tangible way that you have a hard skill, but then
Mhm.
you can also signal the qualities that are like critical thinking, resourcefulness, independence, by
Yes.
just building that alone. And then also how you're presenting the data, how you're, because basically what you're doing when you're building that portfolio is like that you can pull that up in an interview, and then they can walk through your thought process, which is, I
Yes.
mean, Google's like technical interviews, they design questions and case studies and scenarios so that they
Mhm.
can kind of pull back um, the layers and see how you process, how you think, to where basically you can recreate that experience by saying, hey, look, I actually reached out to this nonprofit. I did an impact analysis for them. This is actually
Mhm.
a piece of marketing material that they're using to actually
Mhm.
increase their funding. And here are the KPIs. Here's the way that we visualize the KPIs. And here's the economic value that I've
Exactly.
driven for them. So, I mean, that added another layer in that you're working with real data instead of sample data. by, and you're also volunteering. It's philanthropic work, which, I mean, I think
Yes.
that adds a whole nother layer in that, oh, well, this person actually cares about these issues and they're using their skills to kind of create value out in the world.
Exactly. I love that.
All right. So now let's move on to the interactive section. So for those of you guys who are watching out in the podcast or YouTube world, it's 10 a.m. here because so Giovanna is over it's Milan, Italy, right?
Yes.
So we pushed our class a few hours earlier, and Zane is the one of really the only student who could make this. So my other student group, one of the consulting groups, actually had a meeting with my client or their client at this exact time. So we're just having Zane come on, but Zane is going to be answering 3 specific interview questions. So I guess I'll just let Giovanna and Zane, you guys can just kind of go through this process. Giovanna, do you have that first sample question you want to ask?
Yes. Thank you so much, Zane, for this opportunity to learn from this experience. So, Zane, tell me about yourself.
So I'm an upcoming graduate this May at here at Greensboro College, and I really have like 3 passions in my life, and those 3 things are golf, data, and efficiency. Like it drives me bonkers if I do not do something in the most efficient way. I mean, it just drives me nuts, and I want to like know why I'm making that decision. So that's where like that data, part comes in, why I enjoy that data analysis. And then golf is super important to me. I mean, I played in high school and college. And then like looking forward in my life, it's through some trial and error stuff, I've understood that like that needs to be part of my career. That my ultimate goal in life, and it's something I've really thought about a lot, is like I want to share my passion of golf with other people. So if I can connect my data analysis, kind of background or little background at this point into the golf world, that would fulfill me, fulfill my passion, to grow that game, to grow the industry through that data analysis. That's like what I want to do. I mean, if I could go to work doing that, that's would make me work so much harder and so much more driven and focused, because my passion would be my career.
Awesome.
Wait, Giovanna, before you get into this, I need to give you more context. Yep. So Zane has a very informal interview next week with a family friend who is the general manager of a golf course. So that's why his response is kind of tailored towards golf, which I think is also an interesting, we could even pivot this conversation after, he answers these questions into, so let's say that your first job is not an actual analyst, is not in the title. How can you pivot your role to be a little bit more data analytics focused? But sorry, so I just wanted to give that caveat to his answer. But so give your feedback. I'd love to hear it.
Okay, you're ready to write the feedback. Perfect. Okay, the first thing is that I'm not a recruiter, but I have been working with the human resources for many years. So the first thing that we need to know is that behind every question, there is a goal. And when people ask, tell me about yourself, is the opportunity that they give you to talk about all the experiences that you have had during your life that makes you the perfect candidate for the position. So it's like the best moment of the interview that you have to tell all the things that you couldn't include in your cover letter or in your resume. So, and I have to congratulate you because you have done an amazing work with your answer, because you have connected your passion in life with your professional goal. And this is a way that, for example, for me, it showed me that you are, your motivation is not external, but internal. So you are going to do your all the things that you have to perform because it's something that you are passionate of. So this is a great way to show to the person, to the recruiter, that you love what you are doing. So this is the first thing. The second thing that I want to tell you is that how you have connect. So you are talking about passion, but at the same time, you have launched some technical words to make the in this case, me, to think that you know how to deal with data, or how you want to work with data, or how you are able to use data. So you, in some way, has given me some information that is valuable for me. And the third thing is that the way that you have performed the answer, so your body language was like so natural. So you feel like, I don't know, for me, you were like in the middle of the golf field, enjoying a play, and you were like, you made me feel that I was part of that passion. So very well done. Something that I have to add here, that there is not a perfect answer. It depends on, everyone has a different experience. But the important thing that this question is to grab the attention of the recruiter. And at this moment, you have grabbed my attention. So well done.
Thank you.
So, not to be a negative Nancy here, but where could he improve? Like, what are some, maybe some catchphrases, like, I don't know if they're like default conversation starters or specific things that could kind of improve his personal brand in that response?
Yes. Uh, yeah, this is an amazing question. So you can mention some previous experience, and for example, there are, okay, it shouldn't happen, but sometimes the recruiters or the person who is doing the interviewing, they don't have time to read your resume. So in this part, you can say, when I work in, and you mention the company, or when I was part of the, for example, of a data science team, and I was doing I don't know, I was part of this project. You can mention a project, for example, that you have done with
All right. Let's make this really concrete. Zane, you're working on a project in my Analytics Minor Capstone class.
Mm-hmm.
Try to work that into the conversation. Like, just say, "Hi, my name's Zane, and here are the projects I've worked on."
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we could, because Giovanna, I think it'd be easier for you to root down concretely on his response.
Perfect.
Okay. So you want me to connect the project to? Okay, I got it. Okay. So yeah. Hi, my name is Zane. Anyway, here's some of the projects that I've worked on. So over the past couple months, I've worked with a waste, like a hazardous waste company. They basically take the hazardous waste, they move it to their facility, they process it and ship it out. And what I've done is, or my team has done, is we've created some Tableau dashboards to help them better understand what is in the facility and how to increase their efficiency of not having so much wasted space. So they're not simply losing money or having stuff that doesn't need to be sitting there that could be shipped out to somewhere else to give them more space and to optimize that area. And I'm looking to do that. Even though this may be a different industry, it's still the same concept of creating efficiency and an easily usable dashboard that I want to implement, here in the golf industry that I did in this project with a waste company.
Something that you could add to that is to, for example, some numbers, because we are in the analytics field. So maybe you can say, after doing this project, we have, I don't know, 5%, 10%, we bettered our performance, something like that. So, and remember always, but because the first version of your answer was amazing, because you related your passion with the role that you are going to get, and try to use all these things. So you can just at the end you can add that part of the passion. But remember, something interesting here is the way that you present the project and the impact of the project too. So
Okay.
that could be a good idea to add to that part.
Okay.
All right, Zane, I've got some very concrete. I feel like this is so Giovanna, just to give you context, this is what we did all last semester. We would do a case study and I would bring a student up to the front and we'd call it the hot seat. And then I would say, explain this back to me in your own words. So Zane, I have some extremely potent pro tips for you. So let me kind of rephrase what I think would be like a golden pitch for you.
Okay.
So you could say, hi, my name is Zane Smith. I led a team of student analysts working on a project directly with the CFO of the largest waste disposal company in Greensboro, North Carolina, building out an analytics infrastructure with Tableau. We designed 5 different dashboards that helped optimize their supply chain in their warehouse. So Giovanna, there's not, I think, so Zane's, you're writing that down. I love that.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, but the thing is like all of that is true. And the thing is, I think that most people undersell themselves. But I mean, the project you're working on and the position you're in, because you are literally coordinating with the CFO of a multi-million-dollar company to get a project done. And I think that is hugely valuable. I mean, that shows leadership, it shows organization. I mean, also too, you can talk about how you came up with there was a specific SQL problem, like a nested calculation within Tableau, and you actually went online to debug and figure out that calculation. So, I mean, you're already doing it. And it's cool because you've kind of got the training wheels on and that you're in my class and I've got a really strong relationship with that CFO. So they're not going to like, well, also you guys haven't even there's no like student messing up. I mean, maybe some scheduling issues, but Giovanna, it's tough quantifying this because we can say optimize, but it's not like a typical consulting engagement that I would have with a client where I can ask them.
You are external. You are not part of the. Okay.
Wait,
so
what
you do this. You are not part of the team. You are an external team that helped the company.
Okay, so maybe I haven't explained. Maybe this semester, what we're doing in the Analytics Minor Capstone is that I've taken 2 of my consulting clients at Silverton Analytics, broken the students into 2 teams, and they're actually doing real world projects with 2 of my clients. So Zane is actually the team leader for one of them. And Zane, you guys are actually, we're like halfway through the semester, and you guys are like almost wrapping up the project, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for one more person to send me what they have, and once they send me what they have and I send it to Charlie, that's it, unless he's got something else for us to do.
Yeah. So there may be another iteration because this is finishing up way faster than I thought it was going to, which means good job. Kudos to you guys.
Yeah. All the best. And the way you have to show everything that John has said about your project, you have to tell to the person who is talking with you. You have to tell that you have the opportunity to lead a team or to do the project or to test different tools. That's another thing that helps because people want to do things in different ways. And if you are this kind of people who always love to find different ways of do things, this is creativity. It's another soft skill. So you have to include in your speech that.
Yeah. But I mean, to your point though, it's I guess I didn't finish my thought on quantifying it. It's kind of tough to quantify that specific project. I mean, could you say I led a team of 5 people and we developed an infrastructure that had 5 dashboards? But I mean, that doesn't sound very impressive. Maybe he should say we worked with a data set that had what? I mean, how many rows are in that? Like 150,000 rows or something, or like 150,000 records of data.
A lot, yeah.
So Giovanna, what are your thoughts on like actually quantifying that project?
Yeah, I think that maybe you cannot quantify the impact in the client. Sometimes this is not possible, but you can quantify the impact in your team. For example, saving time or the things that you learned while you were doing the project. Or, for example, if you change your process and you do it in a better way now. So, because that is another important thing when you have this capacity to rethink process. This is another way. So, these kind of things that seem obvious, but not for everyone. And I think a problem, an issue, I have to say, with soft skills, that they are not visible. That's
Right.
why we need to tell others the effect of the soft skills in our work. So we have to need to use words to describe the effect of the soft skills, because soft skills are involved always in the projects.
Awesome. All right. So you want to go into the second question, Giovanna?
Yeah. Saying, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So 5 years from now, ideally, I would really like to be a general manager at a golf course. I mean, that's to have the total control of what's going on at that golf course, and hopefully using that data analysis to make sure everything is, running as efficient as possible. I mean, increasing revenue and player traffic and decreasing costs in whether it's maintenance or in the pro shop of hard goods, or even in a most golf courses have like a grill, so in that side of it as well, within the food and the the bar and the drinks and all that. I mean, I want to be able to use that data analysis to increase revenue and profit as much as possible, while also giving that customer the best experience possible. Again, all coming back to spreading my passion for the game, or wanting to have others experience it the same way that I did when I was first introduced to golf.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Okay, feedback. The first one question. It is for personal research.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a personal vision statement? So you have a goal in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I've never maybe thought about it in that sense. I mean, I know that it really is like I want other people to experience the passion of golf in the same way that I have. So any way that I can contribute to spreading the game of golf, I mean, that's if I'm contributing to the spread of golf, that is, I'm good. That's what I want to be doing.
Okay. Okay, this question is related to the personal vision statement, and everyone should have a personal vision statement. Not only think about that, but write it down, because it's very important, because it's our why we do the things that we do every day. Why do you get up early in the morning? So it's our reason, and it's our source of inspiration where we are living some difficulties in our lives. So this question is connected because they want to know if your personal goal or professional goal is aligned with the company's goal. So if these two goals are aligned, you are, if you have all the hard skills and all you need to be a part or member of the team, you are like a perfect candidate, because companies are going to invest, or they invest in the people that they hire. So they don't want someone who just stay for some months and they go because they have invest. So when you answer this question, you have to you have to do a research previously about the company, to do the vision and the mission of the company. And I think it's better to connect in the way that you speak about your goals, to connect that goal with the goal of the company. And I remember that I test this with one of my interviews. And for example, it was like they were doing community building to uh, to build a better world. And when I answer this question, I include that phrase at the end of all the process, because I got the job. The CEO told me, from the beginning, you were a very powerful candidate, because we know that at least you have entered to our site to see our vision. So it's a way that you have to show them that you are very interested in being part of the team, because you share the vision, because you share the values of the company. So and another thing that is very important is that it's better to say, or to say some activities that you would like to do. For example, uh, you have said that you would like to become a manager. You you can, because when you say, okay, I want to become a manager, it's like, okay, you are like a leader. You want to be a leader. And if you are entering, for example, in an entry level, and you talk about being a manager, maybe they think that you are not the person that they need to learn. Maybe you can lose the opportunity because they want someone that has the spirit to learn. If you jump directly to the management, maybe this is something not so positive. So before saying that you would like to be a leader or manager, you can say, I would like to use my hard skills and my soft skills doing this kind of project, because I know that you are doing this and this project, and I would like to learn from my team. And maybe in the second year, or on the after the first year, I can start sharing my experience doing this kind of projects, and then maybe I can get more responsibilities leading some teams, and at the end, in that way, I can grow inside the company. So this is the way that you can show that you are there to learn, but at the same time to help the company to grow. This is a suggestion, because there is not a perfect answer, but the effect that you can get from this kind of answer is that they can say, okay, this is a person that we can form, that we can train to be a good a good member of our team. Okay.
So should it be, so it should be based more on like your mindset over the next 5 years, not exactly like the attainable or like your goal of reaching a certain point. You want to stay more away from that.
There was this book written called Start With Why, Simon Sinek, right? Like this whole book of like your purpose and your statement of like, this is what gets me out of bed in the morning. So actually, when I went through a business incubator here in Greensboro, they actually made us develop a why statement. And honestly, going into that session, I was like, this sounds like gobbledygook, but they kind of won me over. It does help to have kind of like that. It's like the way that they trained us, it was 3 sentences. So it was like, Silvertone Analytics believes that data has become the new gold, and we want to help organizations in the Triad, North Carolina area mine their data to run their organizations more efficiently. Or something like that. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Giovanna, I want to put you on the spot though. What's your personal vision statement?
This is nice. Okay, but because a personal vision statement is have different elements: the personal, the professional side, and your values. And the one that we share with others, because maybe it's so personal that you cannot share everything, is the professional one. So my vision statement is being part of the revolution of the future in the technology, applying my soft skills. That is my vision statement. So that's why every day I invest my time learning new tools, learning all my hard skills to become a data science.
Well, so you've got to be friends with Gilbert, right? I don't know how to say his last name. Soft Skills for Analytical Thinkers.
Yeah. I haven't read the book yet, but all the abstract that everyone is like posting about that book, and I have been their sessions in his sessions. It's amazing, and I love this phrase that being the bridge to because there is like a gap between the technical mindset and the business mindset. So
right. It's like the data / technology steward position.
Yeah.
Where you're kind of the in between. What's funny is he came on the podcast months ago and he mailed me a copy of his book. It literally just came yesterday in the mail. So I've now got my physical copy of People Skills for Analytical Thinkers is the name of it. So that's definitely on my reading list now.
Yeah, I have to read that one. I have more than 3 books, and I would like to have the capacity of the ability of Christina of reading all that amount of books to read, because I can't, because I admire her how she can read so many books.
You know what I was thinking about? I listen to books. Like while I'm working out, while I'm driving, I don't sit down and like physically read books, but I think it would actually be really good for my like mental health to just like sit down, turn the lamp on, maybe put on some like soft classical music and just read. But I mean, I do consume books a lot, but I mean, maybe this is just the way that my brain works and why I'm actually a podcaster and YouTuber. Just talking through this kind of stuff.
Your brain is trained for that, but I think the experience of reading is another thing that you have to experiment.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, so we're coming up on almost 11 o'clock here, so I guess let's skip that last question with Zane.
Okay.
Zane, fantastic job. I really appreciate you like hanging in here and being so, willing to put up with me putting you on the spot as much as I do.
I'm just glad to have the opportunity to learn. I mean, that's
awesome. Zane, you have been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, class dismissed. You can go about your day. I know you want to go hit some golf balls. It's beautiful out today. All right. So, Al, do you have any? Well, I know you do. I know we've got 5 LinkedIn submitted questions. So if you want to come on and facilitate the Q&A.
We do have 5 questions, and only because that's all I permitted the super fans. So anyway, Giovanna, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but the last 2 guest hosts each got a perfect score on this quiz. They were 5 for 5. So are you ready?
Yeah, mega super ready.
Okay, so I was very nice with the first question. We had 3 super fans ask a very similar question, so I'm just going to give all 3 of them credit for submitting. I'm going to try not to screw up their names. So first one sounds like he's from your neck of the woods, Murillo Gustinelli. Second one is Pooja Chavan, and the third one, God help me, Shaliprithika Mani. That is a 5-syllable first name. I hope I got that right, and if not, please let me know. Okay, so their collective question is, How would you just best display soft skills on a resume? And how would you describe them in an interview?
Amazing question. Thank you. Okay, I have said something before about that is very difficult to show the effect of the soft skills and to show that you have the soft skills. So I think when you, for example, in the resume, we we don't write our activities, or we shouldn't describe the activities that we have done in a job. We should include our achievements. So the way to include soft skills is like putting there in these achievements the soft skills that this person use or we use to achieve that goal. So this is a way of including soft skills. If you cannot write, or you don't have the possibility to say active listening or communication skills, you can write this achievement in a way that when I read it, I can say, okay, this is communication skills, or this is teamwork. So this is the way. Another thing, during the interview, there you can say the things. For example, when I was in an interview, I told about my experience in hackathons, and the thing that I present when I was talking with John about my experience in hackathons, there you can see a lot of soft skills. And if you want, you can say, okay, I improved my communication skills because I have to communicate with people from different worlds. I have a different perspective of cultural diversity because I have worked in this project with people from India, from Netherlands, from Colombia. So this is the way when you speak, you can say more things about your soft skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's there's some angst there with the data community because we're so used to having certificates and degrees and kind of industry recognized standards for our hard skills, and it can be very challenging to kind of say, I'm a great communicator, I'm a great leader. So absolutely, if you demonstrate the ability to work in a team or to lead a team, that should help.
Yeah, and something that I would like to add there is, for example, doing volunteering activities is very, very interesting, and you have to include it in your resume because there, for example, you have the organization, you have the leadership, you have more teamwork, you have more soft skills to show, to tell.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so question number 2, you got that one right, by the way. Our own Dr. Daniel Halls asks about the strategy of developing a portfolio, and this has been a common topic for us recently. So obviously we've talked mostly about developing a hard skills portfolio and the projects, and he asks, could that same strategy be applied to building a soft skills portfolio, and if so, how?
Yeah, this is interesting. I mentioned that we can include, for example, in the way that we do the documentation of our projects, we can put in evidence our soft skills. But another thing is, for example, doing some projects with communities. For example, you can organize an event for data scientists, and you can okay, example, you have to do partnership when you do an event because you don't do it by yourself. You have to connect with different kind of speakers. So you have to persuade these people to be part of your event. Or maybe you need to get some funds to cover some logistics. So you can build a portfolio of projects that you are doing as a activity with communities that show your leadership, your teamwork, all the things. So I think this is a way. Or if you are, for example, someone who is doing volunteer activities with your teamwork. this is another amazing thing because you are not a team just working together, but you do things for help others. For example, this is another way of doing a soft skill portfolio. This is an amazing idea. Thank you
All
for
right.
your question.
It sounds like an amazing idea. Yeah. Well, he does have a PhD, so he should come up with some amazing ideas.
Yeah.
So our third question is from Vikram Krishna, and he's asking about elevator pitches. So he's asking for some tips on how to present your elevator pitch, and then conversely, some mistakes to avoid.
Okay, elevator pitch. The first thing is the way that you perform your elevator pitch, because we have the 93% of our communication is body language, include tone of voice, the way you perform your speech, and the 7% are the words. But of course, the words are important, but the impact of your speech is go through the body language. So I think you need to have. I made a video about this. Is the mindset is the I can do it. I can do it. So you have to believe in yourself. And another thing is be yourself. Don't try to be another person, because you have to be honest when you say what you are saying. And then about the structure of the elevator pitch, you can find many suggestions on internet, but some tips that I can say about that is something that worked for me is first who you are, what is your position or the things that you are doing currently, then your experience or your achievements, and finally your value proposition. What are you going to give? Why you are so you are the best candidate, for example, when you are doing an interview.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I think Vikram just probably wants to know when you're coming out with your next YouTube video. Part 2 of the elevator pitch.
It's on the oven, so it's in the oven. So on this date we are going to have the second part, and you have the spoiler because this structure is part of that video.
Oh, you're giving away tips? Oh boy. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so you're 3 for 3. Question number 4, Ali Abd Al Talif, I think Abd Al Latif. I was close. He asks, what are the best tips for off the cuff or extemporaneous speaking? So you get grabbed at a party and you have to stand up on stage and give a 5-minute speech on something you're not prepared. What mental preparation do you do? What tactics do you use?
Yeah, this is a very nice one. I love this one because creativity in action. So the first thing is that you have to think like a storyteller. So the topic or the thing that you have to present, you have to grab the attention from the beginning. It's like a trailer of a film. So when you see the trailer, it's like they want to grab your attention to go to the movies, no? Now to see on Netflix. But okay, so the idea is that. So at the beginning, it's like you have to start with something like your audience don't expect from you. You can start with, I don't know, with an example. You can start with, for example, with some statistics that are like, wow, I didn't know that, for example. Then you can, because when someone asks you to do a speech and you are not prepared, when you do this introduction, presenting an example or presenting something that for you is like a shocking, you have the time to prepare how you are going to make this flow in your speech. So start with something that happened to you or something that, why is important that topic for you. Then in the center, you develop the idea. At the end, you can let them to think about a solution. So you can make a question. If you don't have the solution, you can ask them. For example, what do you think? What do you suggest to, to do as a next step? So they are going to give you some answers and you can build your conclusion with that answer, without answers. So I think this is a very nice way of using the experience of your audience, and at the same time you can have time to build your own speech based on that.
And I think that is a great segue into our fifth and final question, which comes from Jonathan Bruce. And so he asks, how do you use data storytelling to engage an audience? And especially because some of the topics that we talk about in data can be a little dull.
Yeah, I have been doing a personal research about that because, as I said before, we need to connect the technical mindset with the business mindset. And in the things that I have been reading and finding on the internet and talking with other data scientists, is that the important thing here is the language, the terminology that we use. So we need to get contaminated of our stakeholders. So we need to know more about how they think, or how they, what they need as information, what is valuable for them to make decisions, for example. So maybe we can start reading some articles about the business field that we are working on, or maybe we can be members of some communities where our stakeholders are part. And in that way, we can get that language, because the storytelling is not, because here it's important to say that we need to know very well our audience. This is the first thing to know. Then, how can I present my results in a non-technical way, but without losing the nature of our results? And that's the only thing to do that. The only way is using the language and the terminology that our stakeholders used to use frequently. So I think this not easy, but we can, we need some feedback. So I can suggest to our, the person who has made this question, that is very, very nice, this question, is that maybe to have someone that is a technical or part of the team, and someone who is not a technical member of the team, or other person who works in the company, in the way that, okay, I can talk with my colleague about how to change the language of this topic without, of this dashboard, for example, how to present a dashboard without losing the meaning of the nature of our results. And I can present this to another colleague from another team, and telling, okay, what do you think about this presentation? Okay, did you get it? It was tough or it was easy? The feedback that this person is going to give is very important, because you are going to tune your message. So I love to say hyperparameter tuning of your message. So I think this is a very nice way to tune our message and to arrive to our stakeholders. Hey!
Nice. So I learned a new term. Yeah, speak to your stakeholders on their level and in their language. Like it. And Giovanna, you are 5 for 5. You got a perfect score.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the questions. They were amazing.
Yeah, well, this podcast episode was awesome. I love the student interactions, and also I'm realizing I like the spontaneity of, hey, here's a thought, like just kind of putting them on the spot, just keeps them on their toes. It's not like they're just learning from a blackboard, just reading things off. It's awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
coming on, Giovanna. And thank you, Al,
Thank you.
for moderating.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was an amazing experience. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.